Hey, what's good, everybody of YouTube? It's Neg1. Today I've been reviewing Meta Weekly 166 results. Just looking at what decks did well, um, what decks got played a lot. Blue Eyes got played quite a bit. If we look at the tier list, Blue Eyes. Alright, load please. Blue Eyes got voted tier 2 immediately after the ban list. Water got put into tier 1, and then Blue Eyes, Automat, Thunder tier 2, with a number of decks getting put into tier 3, and then Amazonas and TGs and High Potential. Immediately after the ban list, there's a lot of unsurety about like what decks are good right now. So um, I don't. Water was considered, it's the best deck after the meta, so we may as well just go with this. So it seems like a safe call to put it in tier 1. However, um, while the majority was putting water into tier 1, I have a very different view on the meta. I think it's very possible that like Blue Eyes might be the best deck. Um, I oh, messed that up. Here we are. I think Blue Eyes very possibly could be the best deck. I think Water is also really good, but Blue Eyes, even if it loses to Water, it has a really good matchup against a lot of other things. Uh, Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, the fact that it can tag out into an Azure Eyes Silver Dragon and just protect itself and all your other dragons is really good against like a number of these matchups. Like Automat has a really hard time killing through an Azure Eyes. I'm not sure if it can kill through an Azure Eyes. Maybe it can, but it's very difficult. Fire Kings, the Spirit Dragon like can negate grave effects, so it negates a lot of the floating Fire Kings tries to do. Azure Eyes also protects against Thunder Dragons. They want to Levianeer, nuke the board, and then the Azure Eyes can protect all the dragons, making it difficult for Levianeer to really go off. Um, Also, on my last edition of the tier list prediction, I didn't include Cyber Dragons, but I think it's very possible Cyber Dragons will like rise up a bit in popularity or usage. So I would put it here. It's a little unsure, and then I think TGs could get used a bit more. I think TG struggles a little bit with interruptions. Evil Eye is pretty good at like banishing grave monsters, which is good against Blue Eyes. It's good against Fire Kings. Um, the fact that Evil Eye can run one monster. Let me get the exact name. Evil Eye Oh, Evil Eye, or it might be Familiar of Evil Eye. This one, Ketobel Pass. Whatever. This one, Familiar of the Evil Eye. This card can actually protect their equip Evil Eye of Selene, so Automat can struggle against that sort of board. So I think Evil Eye can have some interesting matchups. However, Evil Eye is really susceptible to Thunder Dragons. Like Levianeer just wiping the board is very difficult for them to compete with. So they do still have like some roadblocks. It's one of those decks to watch out for, but maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. These are the ones I'm kind of unsure of. Noble Knights, I think it got second in one of the battle phases. Correct me if I'm wrong. Either in one of the battle phases or in one of the meta freaklies. So there is potential to it, but at the moment I'm not sure if it's just like the meta is new and people are unsure what to run, or if it's actually good. So those are like my current thoughts on how the meta might be shaping out. Let's go back to breakdown. So we look at Blue Eyes most played, Water, XYZ second most played, and then Automat, Thunder Dragons, and then there's kind of a drop off, and we see like Fire Kings, Tech Genus, and a whole lot of rogue decks. Um, if we look over at the top breakdown in Swiss, top 32 breakdown, we'll see Water converted the best and Blue Eyes second best. And I think this is primarily due to the power of Blue Eyes. I think Blue Eyes, as I said, I think it's really strong right now. But Water is a deck that can definitely like compete with Blue Eyes. I don't think Blue Eyes loses to Water XYZ quite as much as people might think. I think Blue Eyes, I don't think it beats Water, but I think it's somewhere between like a 40-60 matchup. So it's losing maybe 60% of the time to anywhere to like an even matchup where it wins as much as it loses against Water. So I don't think Blue Eyes beats the Water deck, but I definitely don't think it's like just an auto lose, like a terrible matchup, like it might first appear. I think Automat, Fire King, Thunder Dragons, all these other decks converted quite like around as well as you would expect. They converted like in the order that they were played in Swiss. They converted around equal to in Top Cut, and then you can also see like two Shiranui topped. However, this is a slightly deceptive. If we go to the full the actual breakdown of decks, you'll see that there was one Shiranui deck that topped. So this was pure Shiranui, which makes sense. But the other Shiranui deck was actually a Mayakashi variant or like hybrid. Sure, it runs a few Shiranui cards, but it's mostly a Mayakashi deck. It's like half of the cards are Mayakashi, so I think that's a little slight misnomer. Just putting that out there. And then we have after that 2 Tech Genius, 1 Dark Magician, 1 Dark Lord, 1 Lunalight, 1 Ritual Beast. And then if we go to the final standings, Blue Eyes ended up winning. In Grand Finals, it was actually Blue Eyes against Ritual Beast, and for those that don't know, Blue Eyes is probably the hardest matchup, or traditionally and historically, like, if Blue Eyes is doing well, Ritual Beast is not doing well, or Ritual Beast is not having a good time as long as Blue Eyes is having a good time. Mostly because Blue Eyes, they just summon a bunch of 3,000 attack monsters, and that's really difficult for Ritual Beast to deal with. However, this build of Ritual Beast is running Beatdown, which is very interesting. It's a very nice adaptation by Waver, or I'm not sure, maybe the Ritual Beast Collective have thought of using Beatdown instead of using See You Later because that skill is nerfed. So instead they're using Beatdown. So as many of you know, Beatdown lets you boost all of your level 5 or higher monsters by 300 attack points for each level 5 or higher monster you control. So using Beatdown, you're able to boost an Ultra Pelio to 2,900 or to 3,200 if you have, say, like 2 copies of Ultra Pelio. And this is really valuable for swinging over, say, like a Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, Blue Eyes monsters, you name it. Like, stat lines are very important for Ritual Beasts, and it's like something they have traditionally struggled with. So using the skill is definitely a step into the right direction, I think. Even if you can only use the skill once per duel, the fact that you can just push really strong on one turn, it definitely helps the deck out, I'd say. So congrats to Embrace for first, Waver for second. We also see in the top 4, we see another Blue Eyes build, this time running Treacherous. I think Treacherous is, as long as Water XYZ is going to be used, I think Treacherous is also going to be used because the deck, this card is really good against Water, and Blue Eyes otherwise might not be favored against Water. So if the deck runs Treacherous, I think it's more of an even matchup. And then also Thunder Dragons. So something a lot of people or some top players are running now is Thunder Dragons 100 Thunders. Um, so this card lets Thunder Dragons revive a Thunder monster from grave, with some restrictions. However, once they do, they can revive any number of that monster with like the same name. So, say you have 2 copies of Thunder Dragon Dark engrave, you can target one of them with 100 Thunders, special summon it, and then you special summon the other copy. The restriction is kind of why it wasn't used earlier, and it's like while those monsters on the field, you can't special summon anything else besides Thunder monsters. So you summon 2 Thunder Dragon Darks, and it's like, hey, I have 2 level 5s on field. I can make a rank 5. Sorry, not quite. There are no Thunder XYZs in the game at the moment. And your Thunder Synchros all require a very specific tuner for them to work, so it kind of like throws a wrench in the plan. However, at the moment the meta is a lot slower, so you can kind of get away with running a card like 100 Thunders, because even if you summon back a Thunder Dragon Dark or a Thunder Dragon Roar, and your opponent like doesn't want to kill it because it limits you to only Thunder Dragons, you can still like tribute over that monster and then get the effect. So, say if you summon a Thunder Dragon Roar back from grave, and your opponent doesn't want to kill the monster because as long as it's on the field, you can't special summon non-Thunder monsters. Reasonable enough. However, if they leave it on the field, you can just tribute over it with, say, a Thunder Dragon Hawk, and then when you tribute over it, the Roar's effect will trigger. It can summon out another Roar from deck, for instance, and then you no longer are restricted by the effect, like the lingering effect of 100 Thunders, and then you just go into a rank 6 play, Consteller M7, or a Bouncer, and you can push. So, this card has been seeing a little bit more use, and I think going forward, I definitely would say it's gonna. Yeah, I would definitely expect more builds to run it. And I think if I were to run Thunder Dragons, I would definitely run this, and I might even run maybe 2 or maybe even a third. 3 might be pushing it, I will say, but I definitely think this card is very strong in the deck. So, thanks everybody for coming by. Thanks everybody for watching. You already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. It's Neg1. Take it easy.